Alex Kirkland comes from behind the curtain and reappears after we say that Barcelona against Real Madrid kicks off at 10:15 Eastern, 7:15 out west on Saturday. Coverage begins at 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 out west on ESPN2 and ESPN Plus. The full game is on ESPN Plus. Let's see if this works. Hello, Alex Kirkland.
Hello, here I am.
Look at that. Look at that. I'm going to throw you in straight away with this one and ask you, with Real Madrid top of the table, but Barcelona the only side that haven't lost in La Liga, who's having the better season so far domestically?
Yeah, it's very, very tight, as you say, and that's reflected by the fact there's 1 point between them in the table. Yes, Barcelona unbeaten, but they've had those 3 draws in La Liga, and there were 3 quite disappointing draws the way that they happened. Madrid just lost the 1 game, but it was a big loss. It was that 3-1 derby loss to Atletico Madrid, and that wasn't a good performance at all. So I think there's very little between them. But what's funny, I think, about these Clásicos is that you go into these Clásicos, you think it's quite tight, there's not much between these 2 teams, but then you get these quite extreme results often, big scorelines favouring one team or the other, and they're not always reflective of what else is going on in the season. You know, we saw a couple of years ago, Madrid win the title, but Barcelona go and win big at the Bernabeu. We saw last season Barca win the title, but Madrid go and smash them 4-0 at Camp Nou in the Copa del Rey semi-final. So like I say, you get these big results in the Clásico that kind of aren't always reflective of what's going on generally. But yeah, I think there's very little on paper to separate these 2 teams.
Okay, let's find out what the respective coaches have had to say at the pre-match press conferences. Xavi and Carlo Ancelotti, both speaking to ESPN FC.
Well, I think we arrived really well. We are ready to compete. We are in a good moment, I think, psychologically, also physically, in a good moment of a good performance in the last 2 games. I think we play so well. But tomorrow is different. It's a Clásico. You have more nervous, more tension, more everything. So we need to control the emotions. I think is the key point tomorrow.
A mí es un partido que me gusta, ser, no digo protagonista principal, porque el entrenador es el protagonista principal solo cuando pierde, pero me gusta. Es un partido que prepararlo es una ilusión, te da mucha motivación. Entonces he descansado bien, volvemos después. Carrera en la fase de grupo, creo que la dinámica es buena, creo que es mejor momento para jugar un gran partido.
So the respective thoughts of the managers. Stevie, Nicol, what have you made of the form of both sides this season? Because there have been some games they've found a way somehow, and there have been other games they've been really good. What have you made of them?
Can I first say that, you know, Xavi's interview there was classic coach. Absolutely telling you what he wants you to hear and not answering the question. How can he say they're in a good moment mentally and physically? They got more injuries. I mean, seriously. So,
well, they've got loads of players coming back. That's another reason. The fact that you've got Lewandowski and perhaps De Jong and Rafinha
a good
and
place
others.
Physically, absolutely not. No chance. I mean, it's just coach speak. But I'm with Alec though. As far as the way they're playing, it is tough to separate them. I think the one thing I would say is that, you know, do Real Madrid have more game winners? I think they do, and obviously they've got the biggest one in Jude Bellingham. Mm-hmm. I think you attach that to the problems that they're having. I mean, right now Xavi probably doesn't know who's starting and who's not. You know, you talk about waiting until the very last minute to figure out whether Lewandowski's going to be fit. Is Rafinha going to be fit? We know João Felix has got a bad hit. You know, is young Ferran Lopez going to have to play in the middle of the park with Gavi? I mean, is Yamal going to have to start? I mean, there are so many questions that Barcelona have that I don't believe, even as we speak, he'll be 100% certain of what he's going to put on the field. And I think if you look at Ancelotti, it's a completely different ballgame. He's trying to figure out who does he leave out, who does he play, you know, how are we going to dismantle this team? And then when he tries to think about dismantling it, he's probably thinking, well, we're not sure if he plays, we can do it a different way, or if he plays. So, yeah, I think as far as the way the season's gone, it's difficult to separate them. Neither have been have been fantastic. But I think basically for me it boils down to Barcelona has more problems going into this game. I think everything for Real Madrid is pretty settled. It's just about picking the right team. And as I said again, Barcelona, injuries, who's fit, who's not fit. A lot of youngsters might play this game, which I think is a huge deal when it comes to a Clasico. So I'm just going to say that Real Madrid for me are in a far better place than Barcelona, even though Barcelona mentally and physically are in a really good spot.
I say home advantage for Barcelona. It's Montjuic, but they've been good there. They've been really good there this season. So is that reflected in the odds makers and the way they see this game going, Dalen?
It is. It's very tight, but it is. Barcelona is a slight favorite. So you look at the books, plus 145. So you bet $100 to win 145. And Real Madrid's plus 165. But that 170 this morning, it's moved down. So to Stevie's point, what I think is very interesting is if you're going to bet on this game, I wouldn't bet on the game till you see the team sheet, because I don't think we have any clue who's going to be there for Barcelona. And I wonder, once we see that, if more money comes in within that hour heavily on Madrid that moves the number, or if it is Lewandowski starting, if there are some more veteran players that, if João Felix is good to go, however they work that, does that more make people want to bet more on Barcelona as a line move it all that way? I'm very interested to see that movement the hour before kickoff, and once we actually have the team sheets. I do think the biggest thing for me in this is the youth potentially for Barcelona, and Stevie touched on it there. And Javi said it too. There's in certain matches in any sport, in certain games, it's just different. The intensity is different. The experience matters. The mental strain that's on these guys, and to know what to expect to walk into this is huge. And sometimes ignorance is bliss for young players. We've seen that at a high level at different places. But when there's a lot of them on the pitch at one time, and you're wondering how to get through a tough part of the game or tough moments in the game, especially if they went down early or something, to go through adversity, you wonder how they're going to respond. And I really think that Madrid has more guys that have been through it, although Bellingham has not been through a Clasico yet. He's the best player on the pitch and playing like maybe the best player in the world right now. 11 goals in 12 games and could go win you this one like he's won them a bunch of other games in both competitions throughout the year they played in. So I think that from the odds perspective, you wait to the team sheet, but I do think the youth is the biggest concern. If I'm betting right now, I would lean Madrid because there's just way less question marks. And once I see the team sheet, I have a feeling I'm going to go pretty heavy Madrid either way.